So one thing that flat earthers are constantly asked and never get to answer is, do you have a map? So what I'm going to do today is, that's the wrong one there, Craig. I am going to make a map for flat earthers. I will use one observation, that is the observations on the day of the equinox on the 20-degree east line of longitude. Just that one thing, that one position or line of positions, and it's going to be just for the sunrise and just for the sunset. That's it. Everything else, I'm just going to match and force the map, just figure out the map from there. So we see on the equinox, the sun rises almost exactly due east, right there, as seen from the equator. It's also due east everywhere within a very small tolerance. For the most part, if you see from like timeofday.com or suncalc.org, it shows the first appearance of the upper limb of the sun, not the geometric center of the sun. So if you do the geometric center, it's much closer to 90 degrees. But there it is, 90 degrees all the way north and south along this line of longitude. And I use that line of longitude because it's one of the longest lines of longitude that is all like that has land under it, so people can go there and check it out themselves. So here is just the one thing. The sun rises due east on the equator, on the equinox at 20 degrees east. Up in Sweden, and even up in the islands north of Sweden, it's 90 degrees due east. And this is showing a little bit less than 90, which doesn't help flat Earth, but it's okay. It's okay. And then all the way down in Lagos, South Africa, 90 degrees due east. So the problem is that that's not pointing to the same spot. You can't have multiple suns. There aren't multiple suns. There's just one sun, unless there's some explanation for it, but it doesn't seem to work. Anyway, so we have, it points to the wrong spot. So what do? Well, we have to curve the entire line of longitude so that everybody on the line of longitude simultaneously can look due east and see the one sun at the moment of sunrise. And in order for that to happen, the geometric proof there is Euclid's Book 3, Proposition 18, if you want to just reference that. Also, because the sun sets due west, you have to do the same thing for sunset. So that's what we have. We have sunrise and sunset. That's the map that is absolutely necessary for flat Earth to match that simple observation. Which also requires somehow for the Earth to undulate underneath everybody without them noticing many thousands of miles from sunrise to sunset. But I'm sure that's not a problem at all. But that is the only map that works for that one particular thing. Now, on a flat Earth, of course, on the globe, it totally works. It's actually predicted, and you can see here, this is the Earth on the equinox. There's 2 equinoxes a year, so this would be the Earth's axis tilted either towards or away from the camera. So it matches observations. It's a fantastic thing. So flat Earth either undulates by that huge amount, or maybe it just doesn't work. And the globe works perfectly.
Okay, so he's using the longitude from the globe, and how it's laid out on the globe would not be how it's laid out on a flat Earth. So it's kind of like irrelevant how he's laid it out and tried to curve it like that, because that's not how it would be laid out on a flat Earth. So because obviously he's working from the globe to get the longitude, and that's basically all I got for that.
Was that it?
Pretty much, he's using the longitude from the globe, so it's obviously not going to work on a flat Earth if you're using a globe, is it?
All right, so could you send the correct map for flat Earth then, so we can test that?
I cannot at the moment, but I have got some ideas again on how you've basically transferred it from a flat map to a globe. So I'm trying to reverse engineer that, shall we say.
Well, that's what I did. That's pretty cool, though. So what I did is I didn't actually start with the globe. I started with, there are people along a certain position that see the sun simultaneously. It just happens that it's a line of longitude on the day of the equinox. And since they see the sun simultaneously and they all see it in a certain direction, all we need to do is cross-reference everybody so that they can all look at the one sun at the same time, using Euclid's book 3 proposition 18 to face the correct direction. It made no assumptions about the shape of the earth other than flatness. That's all I started with.
Okay, but like you say you use Euclid, so obviously you use flat because obviously Euclid is 3 dimensions, not non-Euclidean. But how do you know exactly where they are? So like you've got a straight line on the globe for the longitude on the equinox, like, but what's saying it's exactly a straight line like that on the flat Earth?
Oh, I didn't assume a straight line or a flat line. All I assumed was flatness.
So you're saying people in the UK and people in, like, say, the bottom of Africa or like slightly down towards Australia would all see the sunrise at exactly the same time?
Along the line of longitude. Yeah, on the equinox, everybody
from
does
the top
see.
to the bottom of the globe. Like if you imagine the globe, I mean, from the top to the bottom of the globe from the UK, if you draw it a straight line straight down, they'd all see on that longitude the sunrise at the same time.
Yeah, whether it's a globe or flat, there's a line, and everybody sees simultaneously the sunrise.
But what about if the Earth was a globe, just presuppose in a moment, wouldn't it be on a tilt, so therefore it wouldn't all rise at the same time?
Actually, no. The I can show you here the tilt. If the sun's here, this is a solstice, right? But if we do this, here's the tilt. You can see it's tipped away from the camera. And if the sun's over here, it's going to be, and I can actually put this around. This will help. This is a line of longitude right around here. So if the sun's, let me tip it right there. If the sun's right there, it's going to illuminate this entire line at the same time as this entire line passes into sunlight. Right?
Okay, I did not realize that.
So the question to you is there any other possible way that the Earth could be organized like that? I've not been able to figure it out. That's why I cited Euclid's postulate, because it's kind of a necessity. So, or some other, evidence-based explanation for how that happens.
Well, I suppose without an actual flat Earth map and the way the sun actually travels, you wouldn't be able to really say, would you? So, as like I said, I am going to work on a flat Earth map. I do believe there is a way to actually, that basically they've changed it from a flat to a globe, and I believe there is a way to reverse engineer it back. But obviously I haven't got that at the moment, no. But obviously you say that the Earth would have to undulate, but if you take into account the movement of the sun, because obviously in the globe model it's not moving, but in the flat Earth model it would be moving. So therefore, if you take into account the movement of the sun, maybe that could, fix it.
Well, I was just, the movement isn't really that important because I'm just looking at the moment. Just one moment is all we need to look at, not even 1 minute difference or 2 minutes, right? It's because the sun appears to everybody along that line of longitude within a very short margin of error. It's the movement doesn't matter from sunrise to an hour later or 6 hours later or 12 hours later. It's just that one moment, and everybody can stand. If everybody held hands and stood along the line of longitude facing east and simultaneously saw the sunrise, in an act of unity and harmony, that's what would happen. They all have to be looking east at the same time towards the same one point. So that line has to be curved in order for everybody to be able to see it due east at the same time.
So the only rebuttal basically I've got to say is I will have to get back to you when I've tried to get a flat Earth map together. But at the moment, I can't really say, but I do think it would be able to work on a flat Earth. That's pretty much all I got for now. Okay, so my first claim is that the moon self-illuminates. It should be seen during the new moon, and the moon landings never happened. So during the new moon, the Earth shine should illuminate the moon. The excuse is that we can't see the moon during the day, because obviously it's daylight. The problem with that is that we can see the moon during the day. Another reason we should see the moon during the new moon is because the moon self-illuminates. So in the link from NASA, it says, to quote part of it, as limited time, it says it's demonstrating that the moon literally glows in the dark when there is no sunlight or earth shine. Now, onto the moon landings being faked. I'm sure most of you have heard or seen a funny thing happen on the way to the moon, where you can literally see them faking the shape of the Earth through the window. Among the other things in there, like the timing of the moon landings, how long it took to get there and get back. Not going to suggest playing it again due to limited time, but as well as the shadows on the moon, being that the light from the sun is meant to be parallel, the shadows are not parallel, they're in different directions, suggesting that they're in a studio of some kind. They get them to fall over on the moon, and if there was really on the moon 250,000 miles away, then they wouldn't really get them to fall over on the moon, because obviously if they crack the helmet or they rip the suit on a rock or something, they're going to be exposed to the vacuum of space, and therefore it will instantly kill them, basically. So they wouldn't do that. So basically, in my opinion, that the people kept going up to the astronauts and they kept asking them, can you swear on the Bible that you've been to the moon? And they would not swear no matter what. Now, in my opinion, that is telling, but it's basically damning evidence, because there's only one reason you wouldn't swear on the Bible, and that's if you didn't go to the moon. Because if they didn't believe in the Bible and they were telling the truth, then they would have no problem swearing on it because they don't believe in it, right? That basically shows that they didn't go to the moon because they couldn't swear on the Bible. And obviously they'd want to shut up all the people who was accusing them and, shut down all the naysayers. But obviously there's only one reason you wouldn't swear on that Bible, and that is if you are lying and you believe in the Bible. Because other than that, if you didn't believe in it, or if you did believe in it and you was telling the truth, then you would swear on it. So that shows us that they do believe in the Bible and that they was lying. And I think that's basically about it.
So they didn't swear, so therefore fake. Okay.
Here is Eugene Cernan swearing on the Bible. There he is, putting his hand on the Bible. Now, I gave the link to this to our webmaster Ken, the OG Ken, who should be putting it up on the website mctoon.net/SCToon SCT-2. Sorry, it's in the description. So this is Eugene Cernan swearing on the Bible. Now, there were two other astronauts that also swore on the Bible. So the astronauts did, in fact, swear on the Bible. So that, there, I stopped the share, sorry, without warning you. That is an untrue claim. Three of them did swear on the Bible. Now, a well-educated Christian who believes in the Bible would know that Matthew 5 says that you should not swear on anything, especially the Bible, and that you should just have your yes be yes and your no be no. So I would not expect somebody that would be a observant Christian to agree to swear on the Bible. They would just say, yes, I went to the moon. The moon is self-illuminating. Do you have any peer-reviewed citations for that? I know you maybe want to get them and then we can get them later or something. But do you have any that you can cite?
I have NASA.
If the moon is self-illuminating, then we would expect that there would not be shadows from craters and things like that as the sunlight or the illumination path crosses it. So something about it, I didn't quite get it. The new moon, we should not see it, or we should see it. I'm not sure, but the when I'll bring up the globe again here. So if the sun's over here and the moon is here, right? So we have a new moon. So we don't see the moon because it's dark. Well, we can see it still. We always, but the sun hits the earth and the light bounces off the earth and illuminates the moon. It's called earth shine. We do expect a little bit of that when you expose we have a camera and you overexpose the actual moon part of it. The moon blows out and you get a bunch of glare, but then you can see the earth shine. And this is the most important one, and I've seen this, that there must be multiple light sources is the claim. Well, if there are multiple light sources, then there would be multiple shadows at everything. Everything say there's 2 light sources, then a rock would cast 2 shadows, not just one.
So basically, you're saying that you won't believe that the moon glows in the dark because it's not peer reviewed, but yet it's NASA. Like all of
I just want to see. I just want to see the actual citation and have a chance to look at it and see what they're talking about. See if they're actually saying that the entire moon is self-illuminating, or if they're saying that photons come from it, but it's not significant quantity. That'd be what I'd want to see, because I did see you had a screenshot of something from NASA, but I did you read the whole thing, and does that actually say what you hope that it says?
Well, the citation's in Discord, and basically it says that without any earth shine and without any sunlight, there is like luminescence because of the solar rays. So they give off luminescence even though the sunlight isn't hitting it, and even though the moonlight is the earth shine isn't hitting it. So
okay, did you read the whole thing?
Not all of it.
Okay, does it actually support your position?
I believe so, as it says it glows in the dark, which means that it gives off sunlight, and especially if it's not in the sunlight or the earth shine. So
well, I'll have a look at it. I suspect, and we'll have this in the we'll link this in the notes here. I suspect it doesn't support what you want it to support, but without reading it, I can't really address it directly.
okay,
so all right,
fair enough.
what about the Eugene Cernan swearing on the Bible?
Honestly, I don't know who that is, but it'd be better if we could see like Buzz Aldrin or Michael Collins or the other one.
Well, there were
Neil
12.
Armstrong.
There's 12 astronauts. 3 of them, there's 12 astronauts that walked on the moon. 3 of them swore in the Bible, and I showed you the video of one of them, Eugene Cernan. So you said none of them swore in the Bible. I showed you a video of one of them swearing on the Bible.
That's fair enough, but some of them would be happy that they don't believe in the Bible, and therefore they'd be happy lying on it. So, but some of them might believe in the Bible, and therefore they're not happy to swear on it, so they wouldn't.
Yeah. So like Buzz and Neil are Christians, and so I would not expect them to. So is Charlie Duke. I wouldn't expect him. I think the majority of them are. So I actually would be surprised to that. I actually was surprised that Eugene did, because I guess I don't know his faith. I haven't seen what he says about it, but if somebody, like I said, Matthew 5 says you're not supposed to swear on anything.
Even if they was in a court of law and they was asked to swear on the Bible?
I guess that's a different thing. But they weren't in a court of law.
True, they wasn't in a court of law, but you say that they're not meant to if they're Christian. So does that mean that if you're in a court of law, you can just say, well, I'm Christian, I'm not going to swear on it?
I don't, and maybe that has been done, but I guess that's not the topic today, though, is it? The timing, is there anything specific you can say about that? Because I don't know. I'm unfamiliar. You just said the timings didn't work.
I forgot what it's called now. Oh, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. There was basically, with the timing that there was meant to be halfway to the moon, they couldn't have been halfway to the moon because of the Earth basically through the window. Like there wasn't enough distance away in order to be halfway to the moon. So therefore the timing wouldn't have been right if that was the case, kind of thing. Because obviously the Earth would have been a lot smaller than what it actually was through the window, kind of thing.
Did the video include the distance calculations and the angular size prediction?
Not entirely sure, but it did have the timing from when they went, I think, from when they left kind of thing, and what the timing was at that precise moment, and the day kind of thing. They had the real and the timing and the date, and they was basically saying that the timing didn't match.
Okay, well, it'd be nice if you brought a little of that detail in, so that we could examine it right now, but I can't look at it. You just say the timing is wrong and don't give me the, the analysis. I can't do anything with that. So I would,
because we
I
only
would
had
suggest,
5 minutes, so
yeah, I would suggest that, that it, on actual analysis, that it probably doesn't have any inconsistencies at all. So,
well, that's fair enough because you haven't seen it. So
falling over, can you explain that a little more?
yeah, if you was 250,000 miles away from the Earth on a moon, which is a vacuum, basically, you wouldn't tell them to fall over on purpose, as they apparently did. They told them to, fall over so that they could experiment, kind of thing. And it's like, you wouldn't literally do that, because if they cracked the helmet or if they ripped their suit on a rock or something, then obviously they're going to be exposed to the vacuum of space and they would pretty much instantly die. So
they knew with the environment that they were going to, so they were intentionally building it to be able to withstand the rigors of what they're going to be having there. So I don't know why that's a problem.
well, it's a problem because if there was a tear, and I mean, I know you say like obviously that it was probably designed for that like kind of thing, but then like obviously if they're designing it for that, then they're going to have to make it more thick and that, like, and it only takes for one thing to be like a rock to be too sharp, or like I said, like for them to accidentally fall on their head and crack the helmet, and they're pretty much instantly dead. So obviously you just wouldn't risk that, would you? So
too thick. So they didn't make it thick enough. How thick did they make it, and how thick should it be?
You wouldn't take the risk, though.
I don't know why that is the necessary conclusion. They intentionally built it to be rugged.
What from the Apollo missions have you seen and proved to be fake?
Petrified wood.
What the fuck? That's not from the scientific papers on data samples from the Apollo moon landings. And my goodness, and the petrified wood, you should definitely do a little research first. That was never claimed to be from NASA. That was a
I'm still not
what's wrong
going
with
to.
the petrified wood?
All right, I'll tell you about the petrified wood. I think I minimized it already. So the petrified wood thing is not actually real. It's not a thing. So it was a tour in 1969 when some of the astronauts came. They did a tour around the world. And they came to the Netherlands, and the former prime minister, who had been out of office for 10 years, was the one who later showed up with this claimed petrified wood. Now, NASA was not giving out samples at the time. They typically gave it to current heads of state, not former heads of state. And they did not give it out from the astronauts. It was the State Department, the US State Department, that gave it out. None of it matches. And in fact, in the actual, the display doesn't even say it's from the moon. It just says, with the compliments, the ambassador of the United States of America, J. William Mittendorf II, to commemorate the visit to the Netherlands of the Apollo 11 astronauts, and then their names, and then October 9, 1969. That's the actual plaque. It doesn't say this is a moon rock. It just says with the compliments to commemorate the visit. And then the rock is somehow in that collection. How did that rock get associated with thinking it was moon rock? It is unknown, but but there is no actual claim that rock is from NASA. I like doing it this time of year because the first time I measured the radius of the Earth myself was 2 years ago on the December solstice in 2019. And here are some pictures I took on that day. There is my setup, a tripod there. I measured the length of the shadow and the height of the tripod. I use that to get the angle to the sun at local solar noon. 22.54 degrees is the angle. That went in. There were two others of us that did it the same day, same time. Not same time, different solar noon for everybody. I got an elevation of the sun of 3,162 miles. Now, somebody else on the same day got an elevation, assuming flat Earth. Sorry, this is very important. This is not assuming that the Earth is a sphere. This is assuming that the Earth is flat. 3,047 they got. And somebody else got 4,468. Strange, they all get different answers, but let's just go with mine, 3,100. It's commonly said, and this goes back to Samuel Rowbotham, that the sun is about 3,000 miles in elevation. Measuring it on the right days at mid-latitudes gives you about 3,000, assuming the Earth is flat. So what I did is I just did a little bit of triangulation. So let's take it at 3,000 miles. Right.
Okay, so basically you're using trigonometry for something that you can't really use trigonometry for, because obviously you're going to have optical effects and things at play, which is going to obviously change the angle of things and where you see them. And obviously, I don't think the sun is 3,000 miles high. To me, it would probably be something like 200 miles high in order to be able, like you say, if you was to use the trigonometry in order to do it, then obviously it would have to be like less than 3,000 miles high. But that's excluding any other factors. So obviously, if you do it on pen and paper, sure, or on a simulation program, sure, then you're going to get that kind of answer. But you're not including the atmosphere and all the other effects that come into play. So no, I don't believe that like you can just do it with triangles to triangulate the distance to the sun. But I believe it's like a lot less than 3,000 miles. It's probably something like 200, 250, probably even less than that. And that's basically it.
All right. What's your 200 miles based on?
Well, based on doing the trigonometry like you have, I've done the trigonometry and I know how much it doesn't.
You just said I can't use trigonometry.
No, but I haven't finished. I've done the trigonometry like you did, and I noticed that it wouldn't set. But obviously, with how high it would be above the horizon, you've got to then take into consideration all the effects. And we know things disappear bottom up. And obviously, that would happen to the sun with distance as well. So therefore, when the sun travels away with distance, it's going to start to appear lower and lower in the sky. So therefore, you will get that lower angle than if you was just using trigonometry alone, because you're not taking into consideration any factors whatsoever of the atmosphere or any other optical effects that might come into play with it. All you're doing is basically a triangle.
So like what does the atmosphere do to distant objects?
It makes them appear to disappear bottom up.
And the peer-reviewed citation for that?
Well, it's what you would call refraction, but you think it works the other way. I mean, it can work both ways, but most of the time it works the other way. So that things disappear bottom up kind of thing. And
but how does, where's the peer-reviewed citation that shows that the sun, that refraction should cause things to disappear bottom up? I've never seen that.
Okay, well, peer review I wouldn't really agree with, because that's kind of consensus, isn't it? It's like me saying to you.
Oh, it's peer review is the opposite of consensus.
I wouldn't really say it is, because it's like me asking you to peer review something of mine. You're peer reviewing it. You agree with me, therefore you agree with me. It's consensus.
Oh, that's not how peer review works. Not at all. That when something's peer reviewed, the reviewer wants to shoot it down. It's something that they desire to do. And once something's published, even more, the people that are the other people in that particular field, if they think it's wrong, they definitely want to shoot it down, because then they get all the street cred from the people that they shot down. So peer review isn't consensus. It's the opposite of consensus. It is a vulture's feast if you get it wrong.
Yeah, he says that the other side, so the one side was closer to the moon. So obviously, again, it's not from the center of the mass. So if you had the mass of the Earth and then you had the water here and the water underneath it and the moon was up here, then this bit of water is closer. So it's basically trying to pull on it harder. So it's not from the center. And the bottom would cause a tide because of the centrifugal force. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. There's a lecture that I sent from Richard Feynman to the discord as well, which basically tells you what I've just said, that it's pulling on the mass of the water instead of the mass of the earth as a whole. So it's not pulling from the center of the mass, it's pulling the water closest to it. And then this bit gets pulled off by centrifugal force, which again is ridiculous when it's meant to be the center of the masses. And now obviously space-time. So kind of doesn't fit. They tell you that it reduces to newtons, but it doesn't. There's a document that says that in one document it says that linearized gravity predicts that the motion of masses produces magnetic gravitational effects very similar to those of electromagnetism. On one final note, somewhat troublesome point, it says that it deserves further comment. Above, we showed that general relativity reduces to Newtonian gravity in an appropriate limit, but strictly speaking, we went beyond the linear approximation to show this. If one stays consistently within the linear approximation, one predicts that the test particles and the test bodies are unaffected by gravity. Einstein himself apparently said, since the mathematics have invaded the theory of relativity, I do not understand it myself. That's what Einstein said himself, that he did not understand the theory of relativity himself since the mathematics got involved.
All right. Well, that was a lot, and I disagree. QED. I'm kidding. That's basically what you did with the last one. So I have stuff here. First of all, Einstein did not disagree with Newton. Here is a quote from him. No one must think that Newton's great creation can be overthrown in any real sense by this or any other theory. His clear and wide ideas will forever retain their significance as the foundation on which our modern conceptions of physics have been built. And there is the citation there for when he said that. You did reference Feynman. Feynman definitely does not disagree with Einstein about gravity and mass attracting mass. And the most important thing is, none of what you said actually addresses the problem for flat Earth, which is that mass does attract mass. So if there's 100 other theories about how gravity works, all of them include mass attracting mass, and don't help the flat Earth at all, because a flat Earth would collapse as long as it's over the potato radius, which is about 200 to 300 kilometers, which the Earth certainly is. So none of it, at best, even if you're right on everything, none of it actually refutes mass attracting mass. But and I don't know where you got that Einstein's field equations do not reduce to the Newtonian limit. They do, in fact. So I have right here MCToon.net/Einstein 4 different citations. The first 3 are Einstein's field equations reducing the Newtonian limit, and the 4th one is the Newtonian limit expanding to Einstein's field equation. Now, it has been empirically confirmed. You don't just hand wave things that have been empirically confirmed. For example, Haefel-Keating. They took 2 clocks, cesium clocks. They flew them in opposite directions around the Earth, and they left at different times, and they left a pair of clocks stationary. Total of 4 clocks, 2 moving, 2 stationary. They compared the time before and after. The times that they went one way, the times they went the other way, gained time and lost time. They were extremely accurate, and the prediction matched the observation. Einstein relativity confirmed. Another one, the very first one, was Eddington 1919, when they saw the light of stars bending around the sun due to its gravity. But none of that really. We don't even need to go that. We can just measure to see if mass attracts mass. And there are many experiments and measurements of that. I have them on my website, mctoon.net/G. You can see, I think I have 18 of them here, including my favorite one, which is they used not a torsion balance, but they used liquid mercury. They used several tons, not mercury. Yes, mercury. They used several tons of liquid mercury and moved them around above and below these balances to see if to see what happened, and it worked. Gravity confirmed.